straight to questions.
All right, y'all fire away.
As many good things as the offense is starting to do, not throwing any blame on Bo, but that drop kind of seemed to make the offense stutter for 2 or 3 drives. Are drops something that you're still concerned about? Maybe not as bad as they were last year,
Yeah.
but there's still times when guys are getting 2 hands on the ball and just not completing it.
Well, I don't think I'm concerned about it because I think we did a lot better job, other than a couple plays last game, of making those contested plays down the field. We have started off the game very fast, which has been awesome as far as scoring points. But yeah, we were obviously wanting to get that touchdown right there, and it should have been a touchdown. It should have been 7-0 off the bat, but that's going to happen. And I got a ton of confidence in Bo because he's just such a professional, and he's a guy that comes to work every single day, and I really believe that he can put stuff behind him very quickly too. So I don't think drops are not a concern. They were maybe, like you said, last year, and even early on this season, we weren't making some plays down the field, and then got better and better, as the year went on. So I feel like we're in a pretty good spot. I think that's the name of the game, though. Like this is an offense that can be very, very explosive if we're making those plays, and if DJ or the quarterback are making those throws and giving those guys an opportunity to make the plays, that we can be really successful. And so I think we missed a little bit of that on Saturday, which made us, sputter a little bit on a couple of those drives. So that's kind of where we're at there.
Go ahead.
This may sound like a weird question. You're good sometimes on first down, great on third down. Second down kind of seems to be the bugaboo down right now. What can you kind of tie that into, and what are you seeing on second down?
Yeah, I think number one, on second down, we have a second and long situation. The general rule of thumb is, man, let's try to get half those yards back so that we get a third and manageable situation. And like you said, right now, second down is something that we got to do a little bit better job as far as calling it, and then also just executing on second down to get into that third down and medium and or short, or get a first down, and we just have been not quite as consistent in that situation. Like you said, on first down, we've been pretty good as far as getting our +4 and keeping us on schedule. So that's something that we're going to make sure we identify and continue to work on.
6 games in, what's your assessment of the running game, big picture, and where's that relative to the ceiling that you sort of see for this?
Yeah, I believe that we're in a pretty good spot in the running game. I think that, this past week, fortunately, we made some big plays when we needed to in the running game, and some of them came from DJ, and that's kind of what I told the team afterwards, is we got to find ways. We continue to find ways to be productive in different ways, not just throwing the ball, not just running the ball, not just running it with our running backs, but also with our quarterbacks. And so I think that just makes us even harder to defend when you have multiple ways of attacking somebody. There's obviously corrections and things to improve on in both the running and passing game. And I feel like our offensive line is really getting better in a lot of areas in the run game. We missed a few things on Saturday that kind of slowed us down in the run game up front. But I can never, I'm very, very pleased with the toughness and the grit that those guys up front have, and heck, our running backs, run the heck out of the ball, and they run hard. And so I feel like there's always improvement, no doubt. But I do feel like we're blessed in the way that we can do it in different ways. And I think DJ has helped the running game just by getting an extra hat and by feeling super confident as a runner this year compared to last year, which we were lacking.
What do you think it shows when DJ, who made an early mistake in the first quarter with that interception, rebound and be able to go for 3 touchdowns in the game?
Yeah, it just comes back to his confidence level and my confidence level in him, really. I didn't think twice about it. Obviously it was a very poor decision on the interception, just throw the ball away and live to play another down. But I did not lose confidence in him at all. And he has been unbelievable as far as, when I get on the headset with him or on the phone with him, during the game, you know, he is always very poised and tells me exactly what happened, and he's always right about it. Like, that was really stupid, coach. I messed that up, but we're going to keep going. You know, he's always staying positive, and so just because of the confidence that he has from the experience that he's had in the beginning of the season, you know, he didn't waver at all. So again, it showed his confidence, and that's what you got to have as a quarterback is when you make a mistake, you know, you got to bounce back. You got to have a short memory, a quick memory, and learn from it and move forward, and that's what he was able to do.
It seems confident to us, but do you think that play last year would have lingered longer than it did this year?
Yeah, I mean, it very well could have because of the confidence, you know, and you know, this year, man, the supporting cast is just playing so much better around him too. So he doesn't feel like he has to be a superhero or feel like he has to push too hard or try to do things that he's not capable of doing. And so I think he's just confident in the space that he's in right now because everybody around him is playing well, and he has confidence in those people.
How does Kobe being out change things for you?
Yeah, you know, we miss Kobe. I mean, he's done an amazing job this year for us, and you know, he's a guy that has a ton of experience. He's a guy that's a really good leader on our football team, and so you know, him being out, you know, definitely, you know, affected us a little bit just because of his presence is usually very, very good, and so we're anxious that, you know, I know he's doing well recovery wise, and he's gonna be back soon enough. And matter of fact, I just texted him a few minutes ago, and just excited about him getting him back out there pretty soon.
Just kind of more carries for the big two right for this correct?
Yeah, yes, yeah, and those guys, Shipley and Maffa, man, have done a great job, and I feel a ton of confidence in those guys.
Talk about DJ being a more confident runner. How does that translate? Is that just in terms of him being willing to pull it more and run, or is it just the way he's running with the ball that he's more confident?
Yeah, I think both. I think he's looking for more opportunities to run. I think he likes to run. He's given suggestions on, you know, what he feels could be working in the run game, whether it's to him or to the backs. But yeah, I think he's just, first off, he feels more explosive. I know we talked about it a bunch at the beginning of the season, but just as losing some of that weight and then just getting healthy with his knee has allowed him to just have a lot of confidence with his explosiveness. And in some of those read situations where he's reading an end or somebody on defense, you know, he feels a little bit more confident in pulling it and making a play. And obviously on some of the draw plays, like the one at the end of the game where he ran for 40, should have been 60, I guess, or 55. But man, he looked faster. He's just more explosive, and so that confidence factor is a big part of that.
So you put a fist pound and said, "Wow!" when you heard it was 40.
Yeah.
Why were you so excited?
I was just messing with it. I mean, I just was excited for him because it was a great run. It was a big boost for that drive. You know, we needed that on third down, and it was something that just kind of helped give our guys even more confidence to finish that drive.
There was one play there Saturday night where Blake Miller was pulling, and he got there really fast and then obliterated some poor linebacker. And then there was another play where it was just puts him on the ground. Where does he grade right now among some of these guys? Because he's like somebody that's really starting to.
Yeah, there's no question that he, like a lot of freshmen, you know, the more experience you get, the more you're just going to keep learning and getting better. And he's a very coachable kid. And we all know how tough he is and how physical he is. And, I mean, he's a nasty kid. And so that helps big time. And so he's just feeling more confident, you know. He had a couple mistakes in the run game and inside zone this past week that he needs to correct. But, man, other than that, he's just a great presence on the field, loves the play. You should see him whenever DJ ran the long one, that 40-yard run. I mean, he's hauling it right behind him, and the kid can run too. So I just got a ton of confidence in him right now, and just how he's progressing and how he continues to critique himself and also just be coachable and learning from those mistakes.
Is that home for him now? That's where he'll play all 4 years here?
I mean, it's hard to say all 4 years, but yeah, I mean, he's really honing into that position, and I feel like he's he's definitely. I mean, he's a guy that, you know, potentially could be a multiple position guy too. You know, whether you move him to left or keep him at right, I don't know, but he's going to gain more and more confident at that position. Of course, as a freshman, you don't want to move guys too much, but the more knowledge he gets, the more valuable he becomes. And like we've had our linemen in the past learn, you know, multiple positions, which makes them more valuable.
Can you describe how much of an impact it makes to have such a talented tight end room?
Oh man, it's a huge impact. Just being able to have a room of talented guys, committed guys, hard-nosed, tough guys, all of them have done a great job with how tough they are, and just really learning and understanding the big picture of our offense has allowed us to utilize them in a lot of different ways, and not just being in the box players, but being out of the box players and having multiple tight ends on the field in different spots. Has given me a ton of confidence, and this offense a ton of confidence. And then on top of that, just making plays, both in the run game and in the pass game. And that's what makes that room so special, is there's guys in that room that can do both. You look at Davis Allen, and you know, he's as good of a blocker as we've had here since I've been here for 8 years, and a really, really reliable, very good, you know, receiver as well. We saw that several times this year already. And then Brenningstool brings that factor too, as a great receiver, and also is getting better and better each week as a guy that has shown toughness and been able to run block as well. So when you got guys in the room that can do both things and also understand it and understand the big picture, man, you're able to really be as creative as you possibly can.
Coach Sweeney said in the past that kind of outside of quarterback, hitting on a tight end recruit coming out of high school, you know, it's one of the more difficult positions to find someone in the recruiting trail that will hit. What do you think it is about the position that makes it so one of those really talented or hard?
Yeah, well, it's hard to find a guy that is willing to do both. You know, it really is that is talented in the run game or in the pass game as a catcher, but then also is willing to be in the box and be physical and be able to take on some defensive ends that we take on in the ACC, and that's not an easy task. That's not easy to find, and so when we find those guys, man, they become a target for us pretty quickly.
That last drive was as crisp as it was all night. How do you bottle that up?
Yeah.
And make it go for 4 quarters?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, that's a great question. I wish we could do that every single time. I kind of told the team a similar thing at the end of the game, like, hey, I wish life was easy. I wish every game would go really, really smooth. But then guess what? We wouldn't learn a lot of lessons, right? You know, so I think it's very important for us to bottle those type of drives up. And it's my job and our job as coaches is to help our players understand like what caused us to not succeed on certain drives. You know, that's what I'll do today in our meetings, just show them, hey, you know, what stopped our drive, what made us not be successful, and then here are the things that made us successful, and just trying to be more and more consistent. But the majority of the time, you know, this year when we were not successful is honestly not what the defense did, is something that we didn't do offensively, or we didn't execute because of one guy or two guys not doing their job. And so obviously this is an ultimate team sport, and we got to make sure everybody's on the same page at all times, and that's what it's going to take as you go down the stretch, and as we get higher on the mountain, man, it's going to get tougher and tougher, and so we got to do a good job of being a little bit more consistent.
Got time for about one or two from Zoom, if anybody has any.
Coach Trevor from ZooTargets.com. Florida State has a bunch of dudes on defense, but how much of a problem is Burks, number 5?
Yeah, I mean, no, there's no doubt he's a good player. I know he had a little bit of an injury early on in the year and is getting back, but he's a guy that has sparked out there for them. You know, they roll with 4, 5, or 6 defensive ends that all can play, and they're all twitchy, athletic. You know, your typical Florida State defense that has a ton of athletes out there, and so you know, he's a really good player, and he you know, makes plays all over the field. So you know, we obviously are going to have to do a good job of executing and do a good job of everybody being on the same page. But there's no doubt he's a guy that's one of their top guys on defense.
Looks like we had one more, Anna.
Hey, Coach Shooters, Anna. You mentioned previously a couple of things in the run game on Saturday that maybe slowed you down. Any specific examples you could offer there that maybe you're emphasizing this week?
Yeah, I mean, really, it's whether it would be one or two guys maybe not doing their job, whether it be an offensive lineman, not using proper technique, or maybe it was a read once or twice on the quarterback's part that maybe we could have pulled it one or two times. And it's just kind of like one of those things that we were that close. We were really, really close on a couple plays that could have been maybe explosive plays, and we just didn't get it quite done. So it caused us to stumble a little bit and have a couple too many 3 and outs that we're not used to having. So just really the execution piece of everybody doing their job, in the run game and in the pass game. I mean, the same type of thing happened in the pass game too, a couple of third downs, whether it was an MA by somebody, missed assignment, or, just somebody not doing their job like they need to do. That's what kind of stumbled a little bit for some of those drives.
All right, we have Coach Mike Reed joining us now.
Thank
Coach.
you all.